The country of fairy tales, the harbor of legends, the land of dreams. This is how the land between the Prut and Dnistru rivers is called by many of those who have had the chance to discover it. One can enjoy the splendor and grandeur of the Moldovan land in all seasons of the year. The warm climate, a lot of different fruits, and landscapes worth being painted by an artist. All this is Moldova, the country that we suggest discovering together with us. The Republic of Moldova is a European country, bordering Romania and the Ukraine, with the area of only 33.7 thousand square kilometers. The native population, Moldovans, are heirs of the Dacians, whom Herodotus, the father of historians, called the most brave and just among the Trech. The people of Moldova are famous for their hospitality. Each family boasts a room in their house called Casa Mare, waiting to host a guest. By the way it looks, one can guess the mastery, diligence, taste, and even the personalities of the hosts. Casa Mare is a museum of each Moldovan family, a place to spend and enjoy Sundays for a Basarabian. Here, you will be convinced that Moldovans are skilled carpet weavers and artful embroiderers of towels and tablecloths. Many historic objects made throughout the centuries by the craftsmen of this country can be found in over 60 museums in the Republic. The Museum Patrimony of Moldova is an important part of the national cultural heritage and numbers over 700,000 objects of the world and national material, scientific and artistic value. In the National Ethnography and National History Museum, which is one of the oldest ones in Moldova, along with other objects, visitors can admire a unique display, the complete skeleton of a Dinotherium gigantissimus, 7 million years old. There are a lot of museums in the capital of Moldova, such as the National Art Museum, the History Museum, Archaeology and Ethnography Museum, and many others. Tourists have a possibility to visit historical places connected with the names of writers well known in the country and in the world, including Alexei Matievich, Vasily Alexandri, Alessandru Donici, Mihai Eminescu, and Alexander Pushkin, whose stay in Moldova is connected with the village Dolna. Thanks to the permanent and temporary exhibitions, the visitors will make a lot of new discoveries related to the history and culture of this land, as well as about the personalities who left a trace in the history of this country through their lives and activities. Moldova has always been a place between the East and the West, lying at the crossroads of trading routes. This country, at all times, has been attractive for the empires from the East and from the West. This fact explains the presence on its territory of old fortifications, such as Tighina Fortress, the medieval fortress located near Rud, Alcidar, and Koesht. Soroka Fortress, built in the 16th century, is an amazing monument of military architecture, unique by its composition for this part of Europe. This small fortress belongs to the same school and to the same epoch in which other fortresses of Castel del Monte, Queenborough, Walmer, and Del were built. The ruins of another, even older fortress were discovered in Orheul Vechi. This bastion was built in the 15th century under the rule of Stefan III and was intended for the protection of the city's eastern boundary. Moldova can surely be called a museum in the open air. The territory of the Republic as a whole is a zone of extraordinary interest for archaeologists. The archaeologists have discovered in different regions of the country the sites of ancient settlements belonging to different periods and cultures, Dacian and Roman, medieval, and those of later periods. One can see the objects found by archaeologists in the national and regional museums. the medieval period, Moldovan churches were carved out of steep rocks rising above the rivers of the Nistru and Rout. Țipova is considered the largest Orthodox cave complex in Moldova and even in southeastern Europe. The cells here are located in 3 levels. Another sanctuary is the Sahana Monastery. Several monarchs, Anchorites, built the first altar of this monastic complex in 1777. The Sahana Monastery attracts believers and tourists by its architecture and its history, but most of all by the hill that is nearby. Here, on the rock, the visitors can see the Holy Virgin's footprint. The legend says that the Holy Virgin climbed up to the hills to bless these places and to sanctify them. In Sahana, the visitors will also find a spring and a small pond. It is said that the water that fills the pond has a healing effect. The legend says that if you make a wish and wash yourself in this water, the wish will come true. Do not miss the chance to have your biggest wish come true. The purity and beauty of these sacred places is crowned with splendid landscapes and 30 cascades. Depending on the period when the cultural objects were built, their architecture can be ascribed to the Old Moldovan, New Byzantine, or National Romantic styles. The exterior of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary Church resembles a peasant house. It was constructed in the 15th century when the country was conquered by the Tartar horde that persecuted the Orthodox religion. The Assumption of the Virgin Mary Church is the only one in Moldova that has preserved the frescoes representing medieval icons ascribed to the Hurez school. The Capriana Monastery is one of the monastic complexes that is over 600 years old. It was constructed by the will of Stefan cel Mare, the voivode of the country in the 15th century. Today, the Capriana Monastery, like many other monastic complexes of the Republic, is under restoration. The buildings and decorum of the old monasteries, including those in Văzărești, Pincu, Rud, Japca, Hirjauca, and Frumoasa, were constructed by the best wood and stone carvers. Thus, these objects have become incontestable architectural and cultural values. The magnificent powers of these holy places attracts tourists. They are deeply impressed by the preserved monastic lifestyles and traditional cuisine with its recipes and drinks enjoyed by the monks and nuns. The numerous churches and monasteries serve as architectural and cultural monuments. One of them is the Saint Great Martyr Theodor Tiron Monastery, built in 1858. It impresses the visitors with its beautiful interior and ancient icons. Regardless of its location, every monastery has its own specific charm. The cells of the cave monastery in Orheiul were carved out in the rocks in the Rout riverbank in the Middle Ages. Initially, the entrance to the monastery was from the riverside, but tempests have destroyed the steps carved out in rock. During the last few years, the monastery has gained its second life, and thus the visitors are now offered a possibility to participate in the divine services held in somewhat unusual conditions. Orheiulvec has preserved its unusual charm and spirit of eternity through the centuries. A whole tourist complex is presently functioning there. Agro-pensions are a possibility for you to complete your impressions as well as to discover the national spirit and traditions of Moldovan peasants. Though the rural tourism started developing as a business in Moldova not so long ago, in peasants' houses you will find the same comforts as in different European countries having traditions in this sphere. Here, you will find all necessary facilities and possibilities. The Casa Mare has also changed along with the modernization of peasant houses. But its function to receive and serve guests with the recipes of the family and wine made by the hosts remains unchanged. All products are organic and all dishes are prepared according to the recipes inherited from grandmothers. Staying in the countryside during your vacation, you can try to completely or partly change your customary lifestyle. Forget about the noise of the city and contemplate the beauty around you. We say that a traveler is always thirsty for journeys. If you prefer a car or a bus, the roads are waiting for you. Traveling along the international or national highways, you can benefit from all necessary services: filling stations, hotels, restaurants, and camping. Turning off any national highway may bring you a lot of surprises. Travels about the country will convince you that Moldova can bring a lot of joy with its virgin steeps or forest-covered hills, with green groves and picturesque lakes, which form a true natural oasis for a very diverse and impressive wildlife. At present, Moldova boasts 178 reserves, rendering protection for numerous animals and fish. The most famous are the reserves of special scientific interests, called Pădurea Domnească, Iagorlec, Plaiul Fagului, and Prutul de Jos. The forest massif of Pădurea Domnească is part of the oldest floodplain forests in Europe. Here, you can admire the impressive oak trees that are 200 or even 300 years old. Many trees here reach the height of 30 to 35 meters. A real curiosity of the Pădurea Domnească is a unique in Europe colony of waders that do not build their nests in the rush like their relatives, but do it on the oak trees. The local people call these birds betlan, herons, and the place that they have chosen for their nest, Țara Batlanilor, the land of herons. The nests of over 1,000 storks and egrets looks like blocks of apartments. One can admire here the birds that are registered in the Red Book since the beginning of spring till the end of the summer. Eco-tourist itineraries in Moldova offer you a possibility to appreciate the flora and fauna of this country and to get an experience that is absolutely new for you. In Foresters Farms, you will see their daily life and it should seem interesting for you. You can test yourself in the farming business. You can try to feed the poultry, milk the animals, or collect vegetables, fruits, or grape. In the tourist inns, built and maintained in the old national style, you can enjoy the Moldovan traditional cuisine. All the ingredients used in the cooking of the dishes are organic, being grown and cultivated right here in the Foresters Farms. It is worth mentioning that a single day spent in the forest zone will fill you with the energy of age-old trees and freshness of the crystalline air for many days to come. The priceless asset of Moldova is its water basins and reservations located in different geographical zones of the Republic. Nistru, Dunăre, Prut, Raut, Bec, Botna, and about 3,000 other rivers cross the territory of Moldova, combining to form a network of over 16,000 kilometers. The riverbanks are certainly the most beautiful recreation areas. Following the waterways, you will discover the most unusual landscapes and will admire ancient coral rocks. The natural lakes in Moldova are few, but there are some 80 proposed man-made lakes. The diverse and rich biosphere of water basins of Costești, Cuciorgan, and Beleu attracts the attention of foreign tourists. Original combinations of the vegetation and animal world, of the land and water generated a paradise of the landscape. From the lake banks, you can watch the behavior of numerous rare species of flora and fauna. In these zones, one can admire spoonbills, black egrets, ash gray and white swans and storks, forest-covered hills and plains, with rivers and lakes, villages hidden under the canopy of age-old trees. All this is the nature of Moldova, a real feast in any season. The people thirsty for adventures and new discoveries will find in Moldova a great number of curiosities and unexplainable natural phenomena. One of them is hundred of hillocks. The origin of these hillocks, covered with mystery, is described in numerous fairy tales and legends. We cannot say for sure that the mystery of the 100 hillocks has been solved, and who knows, maybe it's you, dear traveler, who will penetrate the mystery of nature. The rich heritage of fascinating natural monuments completes the treasury of Moldova. The canyons and grottos of Durătoare Vechi and Cele Butești, a giant 89-kilometer-long cave of Emil Racovița, considered one of the biggest in Europe, and Brâul Coralier, coral chain, in the middle of the Prut Valley, are over 20 million years old. At that time, these geomorphologic configurations were similar to those of the Great Coral Chain in Australia. Besides the landscape value, these unique monuments of nature present an immense scientific value. They have preserved the traces of Neolithic, antique, and medieval cultures and prove the millennial presence of our nation on these lands. Geographical and climatic specifics of Moldova offer great possibilities for promoting healthy tourism full of beautiful attractions. The properties of mineral and thermal waters of Moldova's springs, as well as the services provided by qualified specialists, will help you regain your strength and retain your physical health and spirit in full harmony. Specialists in the spa resorts of the Republic, such as Nufărul Alb, Codru, and Bucuria Sind, use different treatment methods based on traditional and untraditional medicine. Moldova is the country of sports, and its tourist proposal includes both classical and modern sports possibilities. All necessary conditions are created here for those going in for sports. Here, one can choose any sports club or school to his or her liking. If you are a romantic and passionate person, if your elements are water and air, you are invited to enjoy them in full. The lakes and ponds in Moldova offer a very good possibility for practicing aquatics. Let the wind be fair for your sails, and in the true and figurative meaning of the word, you may have the most unforgettable sensations. If you want more excitement, we recommend you the most beautiful and the most spectacular extreme sports. It is defiance towards gravitation, requiring a lot of courage and resistance, but in return, you feel like a bird in flight. Moldova is a country with rich traditions in folklore and folk arts. Folklore, as well as Moldovan dances and music, are indisputable expressions of the spirit and values inherited from ancestors. The traditions and ceramics of our country dates back to the Neolith. Pots and ewers made of clay, as well as wicker works, convey the special meaning of the way Moldovans deal with land and nature. Festivals and fairs trading the handcrafts are true holidays for Moldovan citizens and guests. The tourists or folk art collectors visiting our republic can find here a wide choice of handcrafts, keeping a part of the soul of the Moldovan peasants. Moldovans are specifically respectful not only to musicians, but also to those skilled workmen who can make musical instruments. It is their first skillful hands and rich imagination that help them to manufacture a wide range of musical instruments. Such traditional instruments as bells can be rightfully considered a novelty regained from old times. The art of bell ringing brings together the most well-known ringers from all the world. During the fall, the whole republic turns into a Casa Mare. Guests from every corner of the globe are invited to the National Wine Day to partake in the first drops of new wine. The Wine Day is a good occasion for music, dance, and good spirits. Moldova, the country of vineyards and wine, cannot be imagined without wineries and wine cellars. In Craiova, for example, the traveler will discover the best wine cellars in the world, where he can take a trip around the streets of a whole underground city. The total length of the underground streets is over 100 kilometers. Here is the most tremendous collection of the wines produced in the country. The wine cellar of Mălăști Mici is a little smaller in space, stretching over 50 kilometers, but of no less value. Craiova and Mălăști Mici, as well as the wineries of Bardar, Brănești, Caziac, Cojușna, and Romanești, are included in the wine routes of Moldova. The wines of Moldova have become famous worldwide, being equally appreciated by royalties, prestigious customers, and visitors of exhibitions. Visiting the numerous tasting rooms, you can partake in the wines and enjoy their aromas, full of field flower fragrances and vigorous richness of the soil. The refined flavors of wines in the Dionysian atmosphere will be completed with the original architecture and decorum of the tasting halls in Craiova, Caziac, Cojușna, Mălăști Mici, and Chișinău.
Purcari. The magic of this name is born here, where our hilly vineyard is caressed by warm winds blowing in from the origin of the Black Sea. The majestic chateau, like a wonderful mirage, it amazes you with its sublime architecture that harmonizes with this gorgeous surrounding scenery. In this remote location, we see quiet lakes, rich with trout, the wonderful peaceful scenery. The Purcari Chateau welcomes and invites you to explore the history of its wonderful wines, to be charmed by its marvelous mysteries, legends, and magnificent regal accoutrements. Everything here inspires a sense of harmony and serenity. Find pleasure to taste a glass of unique, delicate wine. Fills your heart with the delight that only the perfection of Purcari wines can offer. In Purcari, you will have the spectacular opportunity to visit our underground cellars, which nurture the secrets of crafting outstanding wines. Even the Queen of England has enjoyed their bountiful bouquets and flavors. Purcari Chateau, an unforgettable experience that allows you a glimpse into intriguing mysteries of history nestled in bottles.
sometimes divine drinks become stronger when served with the traditional Moldovan dishes cooked from meat, various vegetables, and fruit. All products are organic. All dishes are cooked as if by mother at home. The skill of cooks, diversity of delicious dishes, and wines with the rich bouquet of flavors, as well as the pleasant atmosphere in the restaurants and wine cellars, will fill you with unforgettable memories. In the evening, when the darkness falls upon the city, it decorates itself with numerous lights and opens wide the doors of discos, nightclubs, and dancing places. This is the time when the tourists discover a new aspect of city life. Visitors to Moldova can find accommodation without any problem. There is a 1 to 5-star hotel classification system in the Republic. The apartments, rooms, and services in the hotels correspond to European standards. The hotels offer excellent conditions for rest and entertainment. They will offer you all possibilities for holding different levels of business meetings and conferences, as well as negotiating contracts. At the beginning of the 3rd millennium, Moldova is the country where the past meets with the present. One can see it most obviously when visiting the capital of the country, Chisinau. Chisinau of today is an academic and cultural center with several dozens of museums, concert halls, and theaters. The capital of Moldova is one of the internationally famous sports dancing centers. Here are held dancing competitions of the highest levels. The sports dancing ensemble of Kodrianka is a winner of numerous world, European, and national championships. The academic folk dancing ensemble called Joke is famous throughout the world as a champion of national folklore. You can learn more about its dancing activity if you come to Moldova. Moldova is the country that throughout its history experienced both dramatic events and periods of prosperity. Moldovans have won freedom and have proven their right to exist as a nation. Located at the point where East meets West, Moldova has been, and still remains, a place of meetings, a place that has attracted people from every corner of the globe. At present, Moldovans, like our ancestors, are handing down to their sons and daughters not only the heritage of the country, but also the qualities that used to characterize us throughout the ages: diligence, kindness, and hospitality. Moldova is always waiting for you.